You can easily say there's always been a connection with local food in the Yukon. First Nation families relied on local food sources from hunting, fishing, and gathering. As early settlers and miners entered the Yukon, they looked to agriculture for much-needed nutrition. Their agriculture pursuits at this time ended up in failure due to the harsh Yukon climate, but as these early farmers became more familiar with Yukon and more familiar with the area, production improved. With the Yukon Gold Rush came the golden age for Yukon agriculture and local food production. The demand for local food was at a peak because of sheer numbers of miners and the need for nutritious food to get through the cold, harsh winters. During this agriculture heyday, the long and expensive transport routes were not capable of delivering fresh food, which made it lucrative to grow locally. And because of the time it took to import food by boat, train, sternwheeler, the quality of Yukon grown was much better than that of the food that came from down south. Building of the highways in the 1940s and 50s, especially the Klondike Highway, doomed the sternwheelers and most of the river valley farmers that depended on them. Trucks replaced the boats and placed the advantage on the side of imported foods. The new highways resulted in a decline in local food, but at the same time provided Yukoners with a vast array of food from all over the world. Today, Yukoners enjoy a selection of food as good as any Canadian city. Even with this easy access to an amazing variety of food, Yukoners are showing a renewed interest for locally produced foods. But why are we seeing this, and what is changing with the Yukoners' connection to local food?
No, Yukon food, that means to me, it's local. It comes from here, we eat it here. It's my friends, neighbors, people down the road growing it, making it. You know, it builds us a community. So.
It means it's fresh and it's full of nutrients because I get it here, so at the farm. So I know that there's no chemicals in it, and I can pick it fresh, and that day I can bring it home and cook it and feed it to my kids.
Well, I think the biggest thing is having a little one, is that it means security, you know, is being able to know where my food comes from and know that it's healthy and safe, and that we can give our son the best start in life.
It's really important that we learn how to feed ourselves in our own neighborhoods.
It's a way that we can rely on ourselves.
We're really lucky that we can not only have things from fields, but we can also have things from the forest and things from the river.
It means wild foods, that I can understand the management practices around how they're taken care of. And it means being responsible and being able to give back to the land as well as taking from it.
It's food that doesn't have to travel 5,000 kilometers to get here.
Less carbon footprint for the planet.
Freshness, good quality, and delicious.
Yukon's agriculture industry is relatively small, with about 150 farmers around the territory. Although the climate and soils create challenges, producers are able to overcome these obstacles and grow healthy, nutritious food. Farmers are providing a wide range of food, including root vegetables, leafy greens, broccoli, berries, greenhouse vegetables, beef, game meat, fish, eggs, and poultry. Most sales happened at the farm gate, with customers making direct contact with the producers in order to find this fresh food they enjoy. Yukon-grown food is making a prominent return to the grocery stores as well, with seasonal vegetables popping up on store shelves, even being displayed right at the front doors, and we now have potatoes becoming available nearly year-round. Local food availability and awareness is building, with small outlets supporting local growers and the development of community and farmer markets in Whitehorse, Dawson, and now Mayo. Yukon-grown food is generating a buzz as more and more Yukoners answer for themselves the question, why local?
Basically, it's just fresher.
It's better nutrition.
Better for our health.
Because it hasn't been sitting on the shelves for 3 or 4 days, or hasn't been trucked up the highway for a week.
Better for the environment.
To reduce the carbon footprint.
Better for the community. I'd like to know where my food comes from.
You know your farmer, you can look him straight in the eye.
It's a way of having a connection with your food.
It tastes better in general when it's produced local. It's fresher, it's more nutritious.
Marketing has just been developed to such a science that it's very hard to trust what we see in the store, what is on labels. And so the way that I want to understand where my food comes from and how it's produced is by getting to know the people that are growing it and producing it.
The consumers that we serve at the farmers market, I think, are really appreciative of the freshness. Like, we pick it the day of or the day before the market, so everything is fresh and crispy and juicy.
I'm no super taster by any means. I'm just an ordinary guy, but even I can taste, the difference between a tomato from California and a fresh tomato from our greenhouse.
Everything is ripe. It doesn't have to ripen on the, ripen in your windowsill or anything, afterwards. It's ready to eat.
And I always let clients know when they're local things, and they always are more appreciative when it's locally grown fresh food.
To support our local community as opposed to gardeners halfway across the world that, are not as dear to my heart as the Yukoners are.
You can ask, how do you grow this? You can see their farm. Yeah. You can get to know them. The money stays local, improves the local economy. It's all good.
I have very good relationships with the farmers locally, and they try to help me out whenever possible when I'm looking for some local product to serve at a special function or an upcoming event. They'll do whatever they can to help me out.
I think it's really good for us to have the ability to buy local, and if we don't support it, then we won't have it. Everybody who's growing stuff that we can eat around here, it's just so important to me that they feel appreciated and that they're successful and that they continue to grow and expand, because that's where our future food security lies.
One of the things about being able to go to a garden like Rivendell, I can drive out there in 20 minutes and be able to pick my own fresh product, and I can pick and choose what I want. And Mary will suggest, try these new beets or try that, and show me what they're like. She'll cut one open so I can see it. Then I can just choose from there, and I can actually choose and decide on the menu when I'm there at the garden.
It just makes more sense. Yeah. It's to eat stuff that you know where it comes from. Hi, Owen. And you know what's in it, and the cost of shipping and all that sort of stuff greatly reduced. So it just makes sense in the standpoint of energy, it makes sense in terms of the standpoint of nutrition, and it makes sense in terms of being self-sufficient.
I'm looking for fruits and vegetables that are full of love and local sunshine and rain that grows here. I'm looking for health for my family and nutrition for my body and soul.
When I come to the market, I'm looking for things that I don't grow or I can't make, and that tends, for instance, cheese. Being able to have local cheese is very interesting to me. I'm looking especially for products that are unique to the Yukon, or maybe better in the Yukon than any place else. Your vegetables are sweeter because of the cool nights. You have things like lingonberry syrup.
So for people who can explain their approaches of the production, as well as maybe recipes, local tips about where I can find the best, I would say, berries or other potatoes. So I look for, friendly approach to food.
When I'm here shopping, I like to look for the things that I would normally be eating. So things for salad, things for stir fry, meat and fish, local cheese, apparently popcorn, although that's the first time we've ever bought local popcorn.
Pretty much everything I can get my hands on that I don't have to buy at the supermarket. Although I'd like to see more local food at the supermarket as well.
Good flavor and fresh as possible.
I'm looking for anything fresh. As much as I can buy.
I farm because it needs to be done. I farm because I like it. But it does need to be done. And communities do need farmers. They desperately need farmers. They don't have enough farmers. They don't have enough farm products. There's just not enough in the Yukon. There really isn't.
For myself, I think I'm interested in producing local food only because I'm producing food for myself. I grow things that I like to eat myself, and I grow things that I like to experiment with that I've never eaten before that can't get locally. And then as most farmers, you always tend to grow more than you need, so it's a natural, easy step just to continue taking that to the farmers markets.
There's still that sense of wonder, that of, you know, that little tiny seeds actually produce, you know, great big cabbages or beautiful potatoes or you know, things that are good to eat. Or with the goats, you know, it's astonishing, really, when you think about it, that this animal goes out and eats leaves and goodness knows what all out in the you know, all this fine green vegetation that we have all around here, and comes home and gives me 2 or 3 or 4 liters of milk that is just absolutely the most delicious thing going, you know.
I grow because I really enjoy fresh food myself. I grow because when I came to the Yukon, I couldn't get any fresh food. I started by borrowing neighbors' gardens when they weren't using it, turning flower beds into vegetable gardens. I don't know, I may be compulsive, but there is nothing as good as fresh, and there's really not that much fresh in the Yukon. It's also, part of it is in a big way for food security. I have a large pantry that I keep stocked, and it's maybe my mentality to make sure that there is food available for me at any given time. And I think that the Yukon should be a little bit more like me. If we have a road go out, or 2, if we have a forest fire on one road and a flood on the other, we're without food within 3 days, and that's a scary thought.
I would like to see a little more variety, you know, in terms of, I think that we could get really creative. And one of the things is that if I would use a lot more local meats if I was able to buy small portions. And so when I, you know, as a chef, I like to use a variety of any kind of meats. It makes the menu planning more interesting, and also more interesting for repeat clients. So it would be lovely to have more variety, you know, pork and whatever other types of meats we can raise here. But also to have some kind of, it would be wonderful for me to have some kind of a place that wholesales those items, that we can get, that we can, as chefs and as a small business person, that I can just purchase enough for one event rather than have to buy the whole animal and keep it in my freezer. I don't have the freezer space.
People come to buy their chickens. Today I had a lady who said, "Oh, this is a treat. Thank you so much." And it's like, for me, growing up on a farm, this is second nature. But for somebody who doesn't get to see a farm or doesn't even get to eat that fresh, it's an extreme treat. And it should be more than that. It should be a staple in our lives.
I guess I would really encourage people to just think about what they're eating. Think about where it came from, about who the people are. Try to imagine who the people are who put it together, and if there's any way possible, try and trace some of those links back to the source. If it's a food that's produced here in Yukon, that's pretty easy to do.
It's about their connection with the food. It's about their connection with the farmer who grows the food. Not everybody wants to be a farmer. Not everybody wants to be close to the animals or be a gardener or anything like that. But for those of us that do, we should actually be supported in doing what we want to do, because the percentage of farmers is so small that we're silly not to try and encourage it.
Ruby.